Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the March 19th, 2024 meeting of the Litchfield Planning Board. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call of members. Michael Proto, Chair.
Jeremy Robitaille, member.
Jared O'Connell, member.
Sam Terrell, member.
Rose Medina, member.
Welcome, our new member tonight, Rosie Medina. Welcome to the Planning Board for Litchfield. And I think we'll start with public input on non-agenda items not on the agenda for this evening. Anybody have any input on non-agenda items this evening? And I see someone coming forward that I know.
Sorry.
That's all right.
George Lavash, 13 Pearson Street.
Good evening.
So, I was last here 2 meetings ago, I think. And there were some questions about definitions of some terms that we had in the ordinances. And so, because there was questions, I thought I would look them up and try to clear the air on some of these things. And it's specifically around what is a septic reserve area. There was questions on whether it could be built on and what it meant, and does it have to be reserved? So this is in the ordinance, in the subdivision regulations, 720 subsurface sewage disposal. All lots proposed with on-site septic systems shall have adequate capacity to handle effluent and meet the following requirements: a 4,000 square foot septic reserve area, or an area 2 times the area required by state standards, whichever is greater, shall be designated and reserved on each lot. And so it says designated and reserved. I went and looked this up, what is a septic reserve area? And I went to Google, of course, and I found a couple of definitions. One's from Mass and one's from the EPA. So in Mass, it says an area of land with demonstrated capacity for subsurface sewage disposal upon which no permanent structures shall be constructed. This land is intended to be used in the case a principal system fails and needs to be replaced. We had an issue where the developer said that the reserve area did not need to be reserved, and he has reserved areas on his build plan with the housing structure on top of that. Okay, so this is why I'm bringing this up. And I think Jay echoed that same feeling during the meeting. So what I'm trying to say is I think we need to have the definition of this spelt out and put in our ordinances so there are no ambiguities, and it's not left up to the reader to decide what it is, but it should be spelt out. So that's where I'm going with this. I have one more from the EPA. It says a reserve drain field required by many states is an area on your property suitable for a new drain field system. If your current drain field fails, treat this area with the same care as your septic system. So that's Mass and that's the EPA. So I contacted New Hampshire DES to see if there is a New Hampshire statute or definition of a reserve septic area. And the reply I got back that says, no, there is not one in New Hampshire, that it's a Massachusetts term, and that she agreed that it seemed to be, a spot to replace your existing system. So there is no New Hampshire ordinance for a reserve septic area. It is in our language, but it looks like we need to put, or come to whatever the conclusion is of what the actual definition of the reserved area is, because again, if it's a reserves area and it's meant for a septic system, it should be subject to the 100-foot setback for septic systems. There was a question on whether the 100-foot setback existed for septic systems, and I found it on almost every single drawing that has been brought to the board. For example, you're going to be talking about a plan after me on the same 20th meeth meeting, that their plans show the 50-foot setback, the 75, and the 100-foot setback. So almost all plans seem to have this 100-foot septic system setback on them. So it's something that the planning board should be aware of. And then there's one more thing I wanted to bring up. There was a mention of whether septic reserve areas should be required for these open space lots. And during the meeting, it was brought up that the lots could be less than a half an acre. And in that, there's a regulation, 575-61B. It says that there's dimensional requirements, alternative lot sizing. So the planning board may authorize variations from the minimum lot sizes specified above by conditional use permit, okay? Providing the planning board determines that the following conditions are met, that all lots comply with New Hampshire DES requirements for subsurface wastewater systems. So it was argued that because lots could be less than a half an acre, and if they are less than a half an acre, that all they needed was a septic system. But this ruling is for conditional use of lots that are less than the half an acre. So these conditions are only applicable to lots that are less than a half an acre and not lots that are, within a half an acre. So I thought that might have been a little questionable. So, long story short, what we need to do is clean up our ordinances. I suggested a couple changes earlier after going through this process, and I'm gonna send this as an email to you guys so you can see my bullet points. But I think we need to add the definition of a reserved septic area, so that we know what it is. When I talked to the building inspector about this, he said that because this qualification or this regulation is in the subdivision plan, it can only be enforced, he thinks, by the planning board at planning board decision time, and that, if at build time, he can't deny a lot that doesn't meet this criteria because it's in the subdivision plan and not in the town's zoning ordinances. So if we have this septic reserve area requirement in the subdivision, we might want to move it to the zoning ordinance area so that every single house has to have this 4,000 K area, not just ones in new subdivisions. So that might want to be thought about. And what we might want to do is clearly state the lot requirements for these open space subdivisions, because sometimes it doesn't explicitly say this, or it does say this, so we just should spell out that, yes, it needs the 4K, or it doesn't need the 4K, or it only needs just so there's no gray area. Let's see, and maybe we should specifically state that the 100-foot wetland setback must be on all drawings. We were at the last meeting for this subdivision plan, and we've been talking about 100-foot setbacks since October, and the developer did make changes on his plans, and he moved septic systems finally on that last plan outside of the 100-foot, but the 100-foot line wasn't there, and I know some members of the board had a problem understanding where the line was and what it meant, and if the line was there, then it would remove that issue. Let's see here. And so there was an argument made by the developer that if half an acre cannot support the 4,000 square foot requirement to put that reserve area in there and have half an acre and all the setbacks within the plans, maybe we should, if we still want the 4,000 square foot, maybe we enlarge it to 0.6 acres or some size that would support it. Now, I would say I did give you guys a spreadsheet where I went through all the sizes of the existing open space developments in the town. And surprisingly or not surprisingly, all those average lot sizes were greater than 3/4 of an acre, okay? And most of them were almost an acre. So were they that big because they adhered to the rules of the 4,000 square foot? I don't know, but this development that we just approved had lot sizes that were significantly smaller on average than the rest of them. And is it cause and effect? I don't know, but the numbers show that the previous ones that had these 4,000 K areas did have larger lot sizes in general. Okay. I'm almost done. So there was one more area that was, it was 502.01. And this was about the buildable envelope and how we have the 17,762 or whatever it is, building envelope. And there's a note. It says, the intent is to allow sufficient area for locating the principal dwelling unit and have ample area for yards, gardens, and additions or accessory structures. Garage, shed, pool, patio, porch, and this was adopted in 2007. There were a number of lots where you could not really add anything on that plan that was approved. If this note doesn't mean anything, we should probably strike it. It's, what is the intent, do you now have to ask the developer, okay, you need to show a house, and then you need to show an addition or a garage. So if this isn't enforceable or doesn't really carry weight, maybe it should be stricken. I'm not sure. And that doesn't bring into ADUs where they can probably add them anyways and then get, zoning changes for that. All right, I'm wandering here. So I have two more suggestions that are different from just zoning ordinances. During that last process, there was a lot of data dumps or new plans that would come in the day of the meeting, okay? I don't think that's a way that the board should work or the way the public should be able to take a look at this information. I think the town in general should probably require all developers to give you their information at least a week before your meeting, and there should be a hard deadline. Getting information the night of the meeting and having to try to digest it, it makes your job harder, and it makes people, trying to follow along their job harder in order to see those things, those changes. And one last thing. Our town ordinances, as I've been looking at them, are pretty unwieldy. Sometimes there's contradictions in one area and another, and there's a lot of different subsections. It's very hard for any one of you guys to know every single ordinance and be aware of everything. It might be a good idea to maybe break up the ordinance into sections and maybe designate one person on the board to be the expert in that section, that if something comes up during a meeting, you don't all have to scramble to look for it. Maybe, you go to the person who's good on septic or the guy who's good on structures, or, and so if you all have an area of expertise, then maybe it can be a divide and conquer, and then, you're relying a lot on our outside experts here, and it might be good if we had some knowledge within the board just to fall back and, make sure we're making the right decisions. Okay? So, I'm just trying to see where I think there are issues with the ordinances and how things are going, and, try to be proactive and make this better. I will let you know, I thought about appealing the last decision, but on basis of some of these arguments that I was gonna make. But it turns out it's pretty costly, and it was only gonna be a couple of lots, and, I didn't think it was actually worth it to do that. But by doing this, I think I can make it better going forward, okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment on non-agenda items this evening? Okay, seeing none, I will close public input on non-agenda items. And we'll go to number 1 on the agenda. Site plan application for 30.945 acres located at tax map 20, lots 14, 16, 18-1, 18-2, 18-3, also known as 443, 449, 457, 459, and 461 Charles Bancroft Highway. Parcels are owned by, and application is made by Richard Charbonneau Revocable Trust, Whitney Realty Trust, and Mel's Funway Park LLC. Proposal is to remove an estimated 80,000 cubic yards of sand, gravel from the site. The objective of this application is to prepare the properties for future commercial development in the existing northern commercial district. Is the applicant present this evening? And
Good evening.
you can introduce yourself to the board.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name is Jim Petropoulos. I'm a professional engineer.
I don't want to sit down, but I think Mr. Medinas needs to step down from the board at this time. He's in a butter.
Okay. So we have a request from the applicant for one of the members of the planning board to step down. Mr. Medina, do you have any objection to that?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay, I wanna stay in, but I'm not gonna object or anything. I just wanna hear everything they have to say about it.
Okay.
Absolutely not. He's in a butter, and a butter can't sit on a plan for the planning board. Any one of you guys who's in a butter cannot sit on the plan. He has to step down. Ask Jay.
So, I mean,
You should recuse yourself from the hearing. You
Or
could,
just
but
for
you could
these
absolutely
matters.
listen to the presentation, absolutely.
Listen, I'm not saying you can't listen, you just have to sit
no,
down.
but he can recuse. That's fine.
I'd also like to ask, Mr. Chairman, you may need to take a vote to take it off the table. It was tabled at the last meeting or not?
It was continued.
It was
so-
continued.
case.
I believe we
Perfect.
accepted the application for
Yeah.
completeness.
Perfect.
And I think we were coming back tonight because Lou had not had an opportunity to look at the,
I'm ready to roll. I'll be very brief, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Again, for the record, Jim Petropoulos, Hayner Swanson, representing Rick Charbonneau Revocable Trust, Whitney Realty Trust, and Mel's Funway Park LLC. And it's just read into the record. We have before you a site plan of 3 parcels, actually 5 parcels, 3 owners, that total about 31 acres in size. Mr. Chairman, you just described the purpose and the objective of our site plan to make these parcels more suitable for future commercial development. Back on February 20, we appeared before this board and really kind of gave a full-depth, thorough description of the plan set, the approach to removing the material. We discussed stormwater management, erosion control, and many other items. That application, as the chair just mentioned, was accepted along with one waiver, which was acted on and approved. We're here tonight to just give you a very brief update. We did receive comments from Mr. Lou Karen, professional engineer, on March 4th. Lou's comments were quite straightforward and fair, as usual. 4 minor comments related really to stormwater and to erosion control. We addressed those in a timely manner back through Lou and Jay and Joan, of course. And on March 8th, Mr. Karen provided a no further comments letter, which I think you should probably have in your files. So we do sit here tonight feeling as if we're ready for action. We do have a New Hampshire DES alteration of terrain permit for this project. It has been applied for. We're just waiting to get comments. And that's really the only outstanding issue, I think, with this application. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
okay. Anybody have any questions for the applicant this evening? I noticed there was also some comments, we received a letter from Pennachuck Water about service.
Mr. Chair, I think that's on
for the
lot
site plan.
18-3, which is our next case here
Oh,
this
okay,
evening.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
We've got no construction with this plan. It's a site prep plan, so.
I also have something from the fire department, was that for the other?
I think it's also
Application.
for lot
Okay.
18-3, yeah, correct. Correct.
Okay. Lou, I know did you have an opportunity to take, you obviously had an opportunity to take a look at the plans. I know you submitted a report. Anything to add from your perspective on this, or you want to
their
share?
calculations for drainage, I thought were fairly conservative, so.
Okay. Jay, do you have any?
No, I think all my concerns have been satisfied. So if you were to make a motion, of course, that would be subject to receipt of the AOT and the standard conditions.
Okay. Any other questions from the members of the board?
Do you have an estimate of how many truckloads 80,000 cubic yards of sand and gravel is?
Yeah, we can do the math on it.
Yeah.
There's different trucks that are coming in and out of there. What we described at the first hearing, was that it's likely to be anywhere between a 1 and 2 year process. Lot 18-3 has very little amount of material on it. That'll be the first lot to develop. We have an interested party in lot 18-1, which actually is a good thing because Rick can basically start there with the stormwater basin and work, in a sheet south, in a southerly manner. And that will likely take place, if we're successful, probably this year. In terms of number of trucks, I think what our narrative says in our application is that during a peak day, it's maybe 100 trucks over a 10-hour period, so. But it's gonna take a little bit of time, and it isn't anything that, Rick has a timeline to meet. It's gonna be some activity and then some no activity, and then activity and no activity, so. But it would be over that time frame between 1 and 2 years.
You want to add something?
Sorry, I can't sit down, I hurt myself. It's about 5,000 truckloads, just ballpark.
Okay, 5,000 trucks over about 2 years, he said.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Petropoulos?
I'm all set. Thank you, sir.
Okay. If there's no further questions of the board, I'll open it up to public comment. Does any members of the public wish to comment on this application this evening? Okay. Hearing none, I will close public input on this application. And I will bring it back to the board. We did approve waiver last time. That has been done. We're probably seeking conditional approval, obviously with the alteration of terrain permit. Does anyone want to make a motion to conditionally approve this project?
Are there any other conditions that we need to?
They're the standard conditions?
Standard
that are at the end
conditions,
of,
yeah, that we,
Should we be explicit about those? So yeah, so it's documented as a town standard condition. So we
Correct.
probably don't
Right.
need to be explicit.
obviously the condition for the AOT, would come into play. They have to get their state permit. Any other state permits, or that's it?
That's it.
That's it, okay. All right. Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to conditionally approve the proposed site preparation plan for 443, 449, 457, 459, and 462 Charles Bancroft Highway on the condition that is subject to the approval of the alteration of terrain permit and the town standard conditions of approval.
I'll second.
All right, I have a motion and I have a second. Do we have any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstained. Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And up next is number 2, site plan application, tax map 20 lot 18 461 Charles Bancroft Highway. The owner is Richard Charbonneau Revocable Trust. Applicant is 461 Charles Bancroft Highway LLC, Eric Gibbons. The area is 3.44 acres in the Northern Commercial District. Proposal is for a mixed-use commercial residential development. One single-family residential building with a 3,200 square foot contractor's building located behind the single-family residence. Applicant present this evening, and introduce yourself.
We are. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Ethan Beals. I'm a project manager at Hayner Swanson, doing business at 3 Congress Street in Nashua, New Hampshire. With me tonight is Eric Gibbons, the owner of Jolt Electric and HVAC Services, and the applicant here tonight. Here I'll provide a quick, very brief update of the project, and then we'd be seeking site plan approval for this parcel. As you may remember, we originally appeared before the board at the February 20th meeting, at which time we presented a mixed-use commercial residential development on lot 18-3 or 461 Charles Bancroft Highway. This project is really for Eric and his business of Jolt Electric and HVAC Service, a local electrical and HVAC contractor, and it really consists of a small ranch building that will be intended for his daughter or his business manager, and a 3,200 square foot commercial contractor's building in the back, which will have an office and a warehouse component to it. At that meeting, your board approved or accepted the site plan application and also approved a waiver of site plan regulation 120.13.7, which sets the minimum facade percentage for windows and entryways to the building, contingent on us moving a couple windows from the rear warehouse portion to the front office portion to really try to spruce up, if you will, that look from the Charles Bancroft Highway. Since that February meeting, we have submitted an application to the NHDES Subsurface Bureau for the design of the septic system on the subject lot. And Mr. Chairman, you stole my thunder a little bit, but we received a letter of water availability from Pennachuck Waterworks, or a will serve letter. This copy has been sent to you guys. We received sign off from Litchfield Fire Rescue. And then similar to the last application, we received a letter of no further comments from Lou Karen on March 8th, 2024. The two kind of outstanding items, Mr. Chairman, we will have that are state permits, if you will, is that NHDES Subsurface Bureau for the septic permit, and then we will have to update our NHDOT driveway permit. We do have an existing driveway permit for the lot. That was for a residential use, and so simply it will be submitting to DOT the updated traffic study, which we were provided as part of our original applications, just to update those traffic counts to accurately reflect the current and proposed use. In summary, we believe our site plan conforms to Litchfield site plan regulations and is ready for action tonight by your board. I'm happy to answer any questions in the meantime.
Okay. Let's see. So what I will do, I'm going to read into the record the letter from Pennachuck that's dated March 11, 2024. Water service for 461 Charles Bancroft Highway, map 20, lot 18-3, Litchfield, New Hampshire. Mr. Michael Croto. Water service for the above referenced address is available when the applicant has completed the necessary financial arrangements and service applications in accordance with our tariff. We have determined that individual pressure reducing valves will be required to service the above location. All the above described conditions for the provision of water service are being required in accordance with Pennachuck's Waterworks, New Hampshire's Public Utilities Commission tariff. Please contact this office should you require any additional information. Sincerely, Richard Philbrook, Manager, Engineering Services. And this is from the fire department, from Steve Doobie to Ethan Beals. Proposed mixed-use development, 461 Charles Bancroft Highway. It says, Ethan, all questions have been answered and Litchfield Fire has completed their review of your plan. Thank you for your time. Okay. So,
I can summarize the below
yeah, if you
email,
want to do
Mr.
that,
Chairman.
that's fine.
He essentially had 3 different clarification questions, basically kind of distance from the existing hydrant, which is almost centered directly on this lot, to the rear building. He had a question about addressing, and he had a question about exactly what would be if there would be any kind of hazardous chemicals and stuff in the building, which of course there will not be. It's not an industrial use. It's simply a contractor's building warehouse for the storage of electrical and HVAC supplies. So I had answered and addressed all of his questions to his satisfaction, was really what the intent and that email was that he sent.
Okay. And you're gonna require sprinkler systems?
No, the building was not, based on the updated info with me clarifying the use. He initially had questioned that he was under the understanding initially that it was an industrial building, and so he was questioning whether it would need sprinklers. When I clarified that it was not, and there's not any of those type of materials, then he was understanding and not needing sprinklers.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, Lou, do you have any comments, anything you want to add?
No, the only thing to remember, the drainage design was formulated for all 3 lots that will eventually get site plans on them. So there's no need for the next development, for the next lot, for site plan approval to go through a drainage design, other than maybe adding a couple catch basins to collect water.
Okay, thank you. Jay, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I don't think, I think the applicant satisfied all of my concerns. I think the condition for the waiver was satisfied. Lou's comments have been satisfied. So obviously, there are the 2 outstanding state permits and the standard conditions, of course.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any other questions?
I know last meeting we gave you the conditional waiver there on the window relocation. Do we have new drawings for that at all yet?
No, we did not go through an update process. And maybe it was my misunderstanding. I thought I remembered a piece where you guys didn't specifically ask for new drawings.
It's as long as we eventually get them, it's not a problem, I think, right?
Was that?
As long as we eventually get drawings, it shouldn't be a problem, correct? Moving
Well,
on.
yeah, I think they would need to include them.
It will be a condition right on kind of the front sheet. Actually, the updated site plan has that, that piece built right into it.
Okay. Plan. Were there, question, was there an hours of operation for the building? Should we put that on the plan as well, or has that have been listed for the building in the back, or the, are you gonna have hours of operation, or no? I just.
Yeah, historically, we're a 7 to 5 o'clock shop.
7 to 5, okay.
Oh, so maybe we should adjust that to 7 to 10 p.m. at night.
Okay. So just reflect, that would be something to just reflect on the plan, I think.
Does that need to be on the plan?
Yeah,
So that would need to be a condition.
condition of approval. Okay. Anybody have anything else? All right, at this time, I'm gonna open up to public comment on this application. Does any members of the public wish to comment on this application? Okay. All right, seeing none, I will close public input on this and bring it back to the board. Does anybody want to make a motion for conditional approval?
I can make that, so so this site plan is 461 Charles Bancroft Highway. So I'll make a motion to conditionally approve the proposed mixed-use development at 461 Charles Bancroft Highway with the following conditions. New Hampshire DES septic permit, updated driveway permit to support the proposed use, updated site plan, which has the window locations and hours of operations, which were proposed to be 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., and the town's standard conditions of approval.
I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right. take a vote. All those in favor of the conditional approval for this application, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstained, motion passes 4-0-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening. All right.
Ask one question.
Yeah.
Since we have this on the screen, can I just point something out on this, just to show you what the 100-foot looks like and the 4,000 square foot, just on it? I'm not trying to,
Sure. I mean, if you want
If you could
to,
just
just
go back.
quickly, yeah, that's fine.
I think you have to go down one more drawing, or up one. Okay, right here.
Yeah.
So you can see we've got 50, 75, and 100-foot, which were not on that other plan. Here's a septic system, and here's your 4K, they have a 4K area, so I'm just, it's there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. All right, number 3 on the agenda this evening, Stormwater Management Appendix D for review for April 2nd meeting. And Jay, did you want to lead us off? I know we received the Appendix D, or everyone should have gotten it, and it's on the portal, I believe.
Yes, it is. So, I mean, really, essentially, there wasn't a whole lot I wanted to say to this. These are our existing stormwater regulations, and they are pretty comprehensive. And actually, so these are the existing ones. Everyone should have seen, okay, so there are, this is not the red line version. Everybody should have received a red line version of these as well. And this is not it. So I will make sure to email out the red line version to everybody. So the town has a consultant they've been working with on the MS4 stormwater requirements. And so was it for your benefit, in our site plan and subdivision regulations, we have stormwater management requirements. And I guess for the benefit of the public too. So there's something that's called the MS4 requirements, and those are federal EPA stormwater management requirements. 4 because this is the 4th version. And so municipal stormwater management is what this is about. And the town is required by EPA to bring our regulations into compliance with federal standards. So there's a lot of pieces of that. We just adopted town meeting just adopted an ordinance, a stormwater management ordinance that's going to apply townwide. That was one critical piece. This is the second piece. And so the second piece is in the planning board regulations, and this affects every subdivision and site plan that's going to come in front of the planning board. So to help with all of the MS4 requirements, there's the regulatory piece, and then there's actually improvements and investments that the town has to make. So the town has hired a consultant to help them with this whole process. He went through our stormwater regulations, and he has recommended a series of changes that we make to bring our regulations into compliance. So at our next meeting, he's going to come to the planning board, and we're going to have a workshop with him where he's going to go through it and explain it. And then if the board at that point is satisfied, then we'll move it to a public hearing at a future meeting with the idea, hopefully, of adopting updated regulations by June. That's our required deadline, is to have these in place by June. So we should be able to meet that. We're clearly well on track. If it needs to take more than one meeting, it'll take more than one meeting. So we do have some leeway. But hopefully it'll be a good and productive discussion, and I'll make sure to send out the red line version to everybody. So
That's the version we're gonna talk about with him, correct?
Is the red line version, yeah. So this is just what exists today.
And he's gonna come, you said, next meeting?
Yes. Yeah.
So the town, I guess, has hired a consultant
Yeah.
to look into this, so that's who's coming to talk to us. I mean, the MS4 has been around for a while, but now
New
the
regulations.
EPA is sort of getting serious on compliance, and the town needs to get into compliance. So that's one of the reasons that we're
They're
doing
very
this.
strict.
Yeah.
I deal with them all the time.
So
Are
unfortunately,
indeed. So, but we really are making progress, so it's encouraging to see.
so I guess, everybody can take a look at these. If you have any questions for next time, obviously we'll have, right, oh yeah, Lou, I'm sorry.
Just to let you know, I've been working with the group in town
Okay,
to develop these things. There's a meeting a week from Monday.
Okay.
April 2nd.
April 2nd,
And I have a copy of what they're proposing for changes, and I'm
okay.
gonna compare it with the existing regs, and
Oh, great,
with his red line thing will be really helpful.
cool. All right, very good, thank you. Okay. Anybody have any other questions? Okay. All right, well, thank you, Jay. Moving on to committee reports. I guess I'll start with you, Sam, for energy.
Yeah, so we had our warrant article,
Thank you.
the community power plan passed warrant article, so we're moving forward with that. The next energy committee meeting is Thursday, March 21st, 6 PM at the fire station. And we'll be talking about when to adopt the plan. We have as much time as we need. We won't adopt a plan unless we get a discount on electricity rates. Once we have a discount on electricity rates, that's when we'll adopt the plan. So yeah, we'll just be talking about next steps in that process.
Okay, thank you. I believe NRPC meets in, was it March 20th?
Well, so technically our
Or is it
next
the executive committee that meets?
executive committee meets tomorrow.
Okay,
The next scheduled commission meeting is June,
okay,
although we have the annual forum, May 8th.
that's right. So there is an annual for, May 4th?
8th.
8th. I'm
Everybody
sorry.
should be invited to that. If you didn't get an invitation, still consider yourself invited.
It's at the La Bella Winery in Amherst. So it's a good event. You get to meet other folks from other towns, other planners, and
What day is this?
It's
May 8th.
Wednesday, May 8th. I'll make sure you get an invitation.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
And our theme this year, not yet formally announced, but we're focusing on water quality.
okay.
So it should be a good program. And so there's that.
Yeah.
But assuming the executive committee agrees tomorrow, we actually are going to have another special meeting of the full commission in April. So,
All right.
sorry.
Interesting. Okay.
It's another one of these transportation improvement program
Oh,
requirements from the
yeah.
state. So
Okay.
these just keep coming.
Yeah, they do. Unfortunately. They do.
They do.
Okay. All right, thank you, Jay. The CIP committee will probably be meeting in the beginning of April. I did get an email from Andrew Cutter, and I think he sent it to Kim Kleiner as well about scheduling a meeting. So I think that's what's going to happen. So we're going to work on that. The next Conservation Commission meeting is the first week of April, the first Thursday of April, and it'll be, I believe, at 6:30 here in Town Hall. And the Lower Merrimack Local River Advisory Committee is meeting tomorrow, not tomorrow, is meeting Thursday night. I think it's March 28th at 7 PM in Nashua City Hall. So if anyone's interested in that, that's, the Lower Merrimack Local River Advisory Committee is part of the New Hampshire Rivers Program, and it's part of DES, and they do a lot of, they review a lot of applications dealing with the Shoreland Protection Act, because any projects that affect the Merrimack River
Okay.
or the corridor of the Merrimack. So I think that's all I have. Jeremy.
Economic Development Committee meets next Wednesday, March 27th at 6:30 right here. We had our survey go out in the last few weeks here. I've seen great turnout at the polls, also at the dump, and online. So our next meeting, if you want to come and watch it or show up, we'll be reviewing all the results and hopefully compiling all the data for the selectmen. So far so good.
Okay, great, thank you. Approval of the January 2nd, February 20th, and March 5th minutes. I got a, guess it's a note from Kim Queenan. Please don't approve January 2nd meetings yet. So I think we're gonna have to take a motion to table those. But before we do that, let's go and, anybody have any questions about the February 20th? I think we tabled those last time.
We did.
We did.
I have some comments
Okay.
for those. So my notes are that we should probably mention that Reginald Moreau made a comment that he could transplant trees from other parts of the land to supplement the native trees, in the discussion about the buffer. I'm gonna open it again. So page 4, we talk about wetland markers.
We're halfway down.
Yeah, installed markers by the back of the lots. Wetland markers were installed. That doesn't seem like were they installed on the existing lot, or are they going to be installed as proposed by the plan?
Sorry, where are you?
Middle of page 4 of the February 20th minutes.
It's below where it says site details D, sheet 37, if you go down 1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah, fourth line.
fourth line.
Yeah, wetland markers were installed. That doesn't seem very clear to me.
Yeah, or who said it, or yeah.
Yeah. So I think that should be clarified.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Pretty sure I recall hearing that, but I don't know who said that.
Yeah, and what did they mean by that?
I'm not sure if they said they were installed or they would be installed.
Yeah, something like that.
We should check the tape on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now down on page 7, we mention. Let me find it. There's an area where we said, yeah, there it is, at the very bottom of page 7. I responded to a resident in the audience and stated that the 4,000 square foot reserve doesn't have to be set back at 400 feet. I think that should be 100 feet.
Yes.
And end of page 9. My notes say, I asked about shared driveways. I asked if shared driveways were common. And I think I separately asked how common, or I think either me or Ms. Stevens asked about the easement,
Mm-hmm.
and then I asked how common it was for. Yeah, it might be correct, but.
Where are you looking, Jared? I'm sorry.
And near the end of page 9, I stated that the CBA specifically did not permit the driveway to be a part of the buffer pact. If the applicant wanted that, they would have to get a special exception for the driveway. But it's better for them to avoid the impacts if possible. I asked how common that is. I guess, how clear is that? Cause I asked I probably asked how common it was to have an easement for the driveway.
So not the shared driveway itself, but have the easement for it.
I probably asked, and then then he commented that it was an alternative to shared driveway, and that was, they try to avoid that. That shared driveway comment.
So you're saying you asked how common this is for the, for an easement for the driveway? Is that what
Yeah.
you said?
And we should probably also add that, this is to avoid a shared driveway. So that was mentioned in the meeting,
Okay.
because this wasn't perfect, but it was better than a shared driveway. That was one of the, reasons that we agreed with the plan.
Okay.
And that is it for my notes.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? So, well, as to, on page 4, so as to the wetland markers were installed, so I guess check the tape, but can we still approve them?
Well, let's go back to 4.
So this is right before 7:58 p.m.
I do remember there was a discussion around the wetlands markers. But Miss Stevens asked if they had installed the markers by the back of the lot so the homeowners would know what the 50-foot buffer was. So she was referring to the buffer. This comment is referring to the wetland markers, and so I'm
Okay.
just,
So maybe move that. Would we want to move that comment up to where you talk about, Ms. Stevens asked about the markers?
I
Because does
have
that answer to her question?
I have the recording pulled up if that helps. Don't know. It's hard to find an exact moment.
And is that 7 days a week, 5 days a week?
ooh, you're there.
He's close.
5 to 6 days a week, usually a Saturday, might be in there. But that's usually related to internal work in the houses. Our site work usually doesn't go on the weekends. Our site work usually is just done during the weekday. Because there's no pits open or anything like that to actually get materials. We typically need to be doing that type of work.
But what about like siding and roofing and that kind of thing? These look like these 5 and some siding and roof. Thank you. And wetland markers, do we have a plan for that, or is that Conservation Commission? Making sure those are installed, and then a pre-construction meeting.
So they were
They were
Oh,
installed.
confirmed they were installed, I'm assuming the engineer confirmed.
so the engineer. Okay.
He and Ms. Stevens verified that they were installed.
So yeah, let's revert or update that to Ms. Stevens
Verified with the engineer. that they
verified
were
with the
installed.
engineer that they were installed.
Verified engineer.
Timestamps are helpful.
Yeah, yes. I didn't have 4 hours to be right now to go through that right now.
Yeah.
All right, great. All right, if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to approve the February 20th, 2024 minutes as amended.
So moved.
I have a motion by Jared. Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Jeremy. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstained?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 3-0-1. Well, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-0-1.
Yes.
Yes.
I
abstained because I wasn't here, yeah, that day.
Well,
Four one zero.
Well, 410 would be opposed, wouldn't it? 401, because opposed or abstained.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
40
Myself. I'm confusing
And you
myself.
weren't here that day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So both you guys abstained
So we
then, right?
both have to
Yes,
abstain.
we
yeah.
both.
Alright, so 302.
okay, I'm sorry.
So 302.
Yeah, you're right. So it's 302, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's correct.
Wow, all right.
Do you want to deal with January 2nd first before you go on this one?
Well, I guess, because Ms. Queen has asked to does not want us to approve them yet, I
you wanna table
just
them?
made a motion to table them.
For the March 5th?
No, the
January
January
2nd.
2nd.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to table the January 2nd to our next
Alright.
meeting.
I have a motion by Jeremy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Sam. Any further discussion? All those in favor of tabling the January 2nd, 2024 minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstained? Okay. Motion, so are you abstaining?
No, I'm trying to, so this is to move the,
Delay
to
the,
delay
I'm
to.
sorry. It's to table it because I guess Ms.
Yeah, she
Queen,
wanted us
she
to.
had, she wanted us to, says don't approve the second meeting
Okay.
yet. So I suspect that she may have something. she
Something
wants to
else,
add.
okay.
So, yeah, so it's just to table it to the next meeting. So, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstain, motion passes 5-0-0. Okay, that one. And finally, the March 5th minutes. Do we have any questions about those? Any amendments?
it seemed straightforward to me.
Okay,
Anyone?
And this one is for
the last meeting,
the last meeting that,
yeah.
So 2 weeks ago.
yeah, I wasn't here,
Not sure why. Okay. On, well, there's no page, but number 4, parking spaces. Following table provides a minimum standard for the provision of parking spaces by use, but then everything's crossed out.
Yeah, that's been floating around our portal for a while.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right. I don't know why that is, but,
it does. Camera Joan on that one.
all right. Anybody want to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the March 5th, 2024 meeting minutes.
All right, I have a motion by Jeremy. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jared. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approval of the March 5th, 2024 minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Abstained? Okay, motion passes 4-0-1. Okay, thank you. All right, on to any other business, and I have a couple things under any other business. And the first thing is appointments. Jared, you are expiring, I guess, and Kim Kleiner asked if you were going to continue to serve on the planning board. So I think what we have to do tonight is make a motion to recommend that you go before the Board of Selectmen for approval, so that your term can reset. And so obviously you're still interested, I assume.
Yes.
I had a feeling you were, but I just want to make sure.
Hasn't been long.
Okay, yeah, got it. Well, thank you. Well, you do a great job, so I think we'll definitely do that. So with that, I think what's going to happen is that Kim Kleiner will put you on the next BOS agenda for Monday night. So at this time, I'll make a motion to recommend Jared to the Board of Selectmen for approval as a regular member of the Planning Board.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by myself, a second by...
Should I abstain from this?
It's totally up to you.
Probably would.
Totally up to you. If you feel comfortable, if you want to abstain, you can. So, all right. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstained.
Aye.
All right, motion passes 4-0-1. All right, very good. Also, a couple other things here. We have some let's see, trainings coming up. I don't know if anyone's been looking at the emails. I know I did see a couple. There's one, I believe, for NRPC land use. That's there's
The ZBA training.
ZBA training. There's a ZBA training workshop. This one it's free. I guess it's NRPC.
Right.
And that is Wednesday, April 10th at 6:30 p.m. It's at the National Regional Planning Commission, and a light dinner will be served.
Even if you're not on a zoning board, sometimes it's just good to know how they work, right?
It is, and you can learn a lot. There's a Zoom option is available for this as well.
You said April 10, 6:30?
6:30 p.m.
Located?
Nashua Regional Planning Commission is at 30 Temple Street in Nashua, Suite 310.
I have the invite here. Do we have to sign up for that, register for that, actually?
What's that?
There's a registration button on the link here. Should we send that over to Rose if he wants to go?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you have an email yet?
Yeah, but I haven't gotten anything on my email.
Okay.
Okay.
I set it up 2 days ago.
Okay.
Okay. All right. There is another workshop. This one is, it's actually it's a right to know workshop on meetings and records. This one is at, it's going to be from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. It's on Wednesday, April 17th, 2024 at 25 Triangle Park Drive in Concord, New Hampshire. That's the New Hampshire Municipal Association building in Concord. It looks like it's going to be, there's a cost to it, and I think it's like $85 in-person attendance, $70 for virtual. Non-members, 170 in-person attendance, 140. This is a really good workshop to learn about 91A and the right to know law, and it covers pretty much everything that you would need to know for the right to know.
Can you send me that one also too?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I'm probably going to that one.
And this is really for, selectmen, it's for planning, it's for any, town officials and
Yeah,
so
that one
forth.
sounds pretty good.
Let's see, and there was another one. And maybe you can help me out, Jay. Is it, there is one on planning. I did see it.
There's the spring planning.
There's a spring
conference that's coming
planning.
up. Yeah.
And I believe is it the Office of Planning or?
Yes, Office of Planning and Development.
That's the state of New Hampshire. It offers that. And, fortunately, I don't at the moment have I know I saw it in here somewhere.
Yeah, I saw it too.
But it's actually, I think it's it's virtual, so it's like a Zoom. It's free, and it's basically all introductory about planning boards, how they operate, and it's the nuts and bolts of what to expect from a
good.
planning board process. So I think it would be a good one
Yes.
for all of us. And that. I'm gonna have to get the information on that, because I don't have it, I don't see it in my email, but I did see it. But there is one in the spring, I didn't think it's gonna be probably at like April or May.
It's usually,
late-
yeah.
Yeah, late April or May, but I'll definitely get that information out to everybody, because I think that's an important one. Okay, that's that. Okay, I'm not clear about that, I don't think. Okay, those are all set. We talked about the NRPC event on May 8th. So, and it's going to escape me if I don't think of it. What is it I wanted to say? Man is going. That's it. Planning board terms. I think we talked about Jared, but also too, Nashua Regional Planning Commission. Did get an email about, I think it's Kim and myself, NRPC commissioners. The records, Kim Queenan and Michael Croto, I'm an alternate, expire in 2024. Is this true? Does the Board of Selectmen need to reappoint them, and when? I guess, I don't know, Jay, if you know the answer to that
Double
one.
check on that.
So the NRPC has a commission, and usually there are members on it from the town. Right now, I think it's Ralph Bohm, who's a state rep, Kim Queenan, who is one of the members, and I'm an alternate. So like 3 people that serve on as a nominee to that. So,
Yes, so I have Kim's term expiring March 2025.
okay,
Ralph Boehm expiring October 25,
okay,
and you expiring March of 25.
okay,
However, that's the statutory term.
okay.
When you were appointed by the town, they put the expiration as 24 for both you and for Kim, so,
So it would be March of 24.
yes.
All right. So I guess,
So with the town, so statute is a 4-year term,
Mhm.
the town obviously made it a 3-year term.
got it.
So yes, that is correct.
Okay.
So your expiration is,
Next month.
Now,
now it's
Yeah.
22nd.
You are expired. Okay, great. So I guess,
You carry over until,
to
you're
carry
replaced.
over, I mean, it's certainly, it's up to the board, but I guess I would need maybe a motion, to, sort of I guess, make a recommendation to the, I think it has to go to the Board of Selectmen, I would assume.
Yeah, so the planning board has to recommend,
So,
selectmen have to appoint, so it'd be a recommendation to the board of selectmen.
So I probably need a motion to recommend myself and Kim Queenan.
should we do Kim or should the selectmen do Kim?
No,
The planning board recommendation.
planning board, it's
so-
just a recommendation, so they'd actually make the private. So Kim and myself as an alternate to the NRPC commission.
I'll make a motion to recommend Kim Queenan and Michael Cordo for renewal of their NRPC membership.
Okay, I have a motion, do I have a second? Second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those abstained? I'll abstain. Motion passes 4-0-1. Thank you. Okay. That's visual. Thank you. All right. Anything else that I have here? Oh, and the final thing. We need members to the planning board. So we're asking the public, this is a public service announcement you may have seen in Town Hall. There are signs up, looking for planning board and zoning board members. So we are needing volunteers. If anybody is interested in becoming a member of the planning board, please see Joan McKibben, get an application, fill it out, and then you'll be asked to come to one of the meetings. We'll interview you, and if we think you're good, we'll send you before the Board of Selectmen, and they can approve you. But we do encourage people to volunteer and step up to the plate. So this is our public service announcement tonight, to please come and join us. We'd love to have you. So that's my 2 cents for this evening. And yes, there are flyers around town, and I guess on social media it's also posted as well. So there you go. All right, I don't have anything else. Does anybody have anything that they want to?
I would like to ask, when are we going to schedule any workshops for things like the comments we had today?
Yeah, and I did want to bring that up. It's a good point. I do want to start. Maybe we can do it next meeting.
Well, April 2nd is a workshop.
All right. I think
Might have
what
a
I would
profile.
like to start to do is I would like us to, or would like to pick a chapter in the site plan regulations, subdivision, any chapter that you want. And the next meeting, which is a workshop, but I think we're gonna do, and I would like to do this for meetings going forward, is take that chapter, take a look at it beforehand, come to the meeting and say, what do you like about this? What do you don't like about it? Do we need to change things? And then start making maybe edits or, start working on it. And at some point, taking all of that together, all those edits, and revising what we have. I think it's very important that we start doing that. We have a lot of stuff in our regulations. I think it's overdue. We've had a lot of projects coming into town. And I think it's time that we start taking a second look and looking at what we have and what works, what doesn't work. I think we've seen a lot of examples of what works and doesn't work and through, the last couple of months or years. So we need to start doing that. I think we need to really work on that, and I would like to at least see us do that.
Next one, stormwater.
Right, true. And we'll be starting, I guess, with stormwater. But the one after that, I think maybe the next meeting, I would like to do another one. And so if anybody for next time has any ideas of what they would like to do, whether it's conservation open space developments or something to do with the site plan or subdivision regs, you want to look at it, we're going to take that chapter and we're going to go through it and we're going to mark it up. We're going to start to do that. I think we need to do that. So, good point. I think and I think tonight, I think it definitely needs relook. So, that's.
Can we give Joan maybe every other month we have one meeting, we sit down and try to do this in advance scheduling? So she doesn't overpack nights?
Right, well, I think
the best we can at least.
As best we can, but I would like to at least do a chapter meeting, or at least get something started.
Once a month?
Yeah, because I think, I understand, that it's a commitment, but I think if we start doing it piece by piece, take a little bit of time, then eventually we can probably make some progress.
And it does feel like we've got a little breathing room right now.
Yeah. So hopefully we can focus on that.
Summer is coming.
Yeah.
We don't want to do this when we're fighting.
It's like,
Summer's when it comes, everybody.
Yeah. So exactly. So, I think it's important, and this is what we need. I think we need to do this. So.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to do it when we're fighting the deadlines of the warrant articles and stuff like that.
Exactly. So and I think doing it early is better than doing it late.
But yeah, hopefully we probably need to clarify certain things about what applies to what.
Right.
Because that's semi-ambiguous in some situations.
So that's the goal for 2024. If I have a goal, that's what it's going to be. I don't have anything else. Jay, do you have anything?
I do not.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything?
I would just add to that topic, though, that we do have some things that we kind of had in a tickler file, whether that's what people want to look at or not, but there has been a tickler file for the last couple of years, for what that's worth. I know Kate was very interested in the design regs, for example.
What's in that file?
It's not a real file. I'm just saying, we've had the things that we mentioned that we really need to take a look at. One of those was design regs in the site plan. Parking was one. Street standards came up.
Right.
So doesn't mean that that's important. I just throw that out there, that there's some things that had kind of.
Is there any work done on it all yet, or just things brought up?
Yeah, there was work done. So there were some
Can we dig that up then
drafts.
for the next meeting?
And again, we don't have to do
Just
those,
see what's
but
there.
Yeah, Kate put together
definitely.
a lot of stuff on design and village design concepts. She had some
We did talk a lot about
images
that,
and
yeah.
It would definitely be better to view those rather than starting from scratch without being aware of those changes.
yeah, and they didn't move forward, but
Right.
there's some material there for.
It might be good to look at,
That's
so
right.
at least look at it for now.
Yeah, definitely.
We can certainly share it.
And with roads, it'd be interesting if the board would like to go in the direction of revising the road standards to maybe narrow them and add sidewalks. Because currently it's very wide road that in straightaways can make people just accidentally go over the speed limit.
Accidentally.
So the goal is to get a road that feels appropriate for its use, and Litchfield has a ton of just cul-de-sacs and stuff like that. All you have are just homes over there, and the current road standards, they work, but there are downsides to them.
Okay. Well, like I said, this is an opportunity for us to take a deep dive, so
Yeah.
if anybody has any ideas, next time we'll go over those.
Okay.
So that's all I have for this evening. Our next meeting is the beginning of April,
Second, right?
April 2nd?
Yep.
Yep. Looks like we do have an applicant, another applicant, potential applicant, coming before the board on that date, so see if they show up and we can talk to them about interest in the planning board. Other than that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Your last motion to adjourn? Are you coming back next time?
No, no, this has been my last
Oh,
meeting.
okay. Well, Sam, as it is Sam's last night, Sam, you've been a great asset to the board. Thank you very much for serving, and you are always welcome back, so thank you.
Thank you. It's been a great pleasure
Yes.
serving on
Good
this
luck.
board with all of you. I've
Yep.
learned a lot. Thanks again.
You know,
Yeah,
wish
thank
you
you.
well.
Thank you, Sam, and I'll second your motion.
Okay, very good. I've seconded the motion. All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstained, motion passes 5-0-0. Thank you for joining us this evening. We will see you on April 2nd. Have a good night.